Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Road Show. I am your host, Sergeant John PERRINE. I'm the Public Information Officer from the Indianapolis District. And the Road Show is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, you can visit their website at www.indianasfinest.com. My guest today from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security is Public Affairs Director David HOSICK. David, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, John. Happy to be here. Appreciate it.
So we've got a plethora of things to talk about because you guys have a great program happening right now in this summer with smoke alarms, but also we want to talk about what is Homeland Security. So let's start with, though, the program about the Get Alarmed program, and what are the goals and what's the purpose of it?
Okay, well, I appreciate that. This is a very exciting program, something that's really ramping up in speed right now as we speak. The program is a free smoke alarm program for Indiana residents. It is an installation program, so we work closely with service providers as well as fire departments to actually go out and install these alarms rather than just distribute them, say, from a table or something. But that way we know they're going in the home. We have an opportunity to educate people and make sure that they're installing them safely. It's a new venture for us, and it's due to a large federal grant that we were thankful to receive. We are able to purchase 10,000 smoke alarms over this year and next year. Wow. And we're just, as I said, we're really ramping up speed. We have about 2,000 that we've distributed so far, and we have several more to go with the requests that have come in so far. So there's a great demand out there, and we're really starting to see things click on this campaign.
You know, and you bring up a good point, because if you guys just went to a fair and handed these things out, there's no guarantee. Probably maybe 10 or 15% would actually be installed, because
right.
People would just put them in a drawer or whatever. So the education part of this is key to this program. It's not just handing somebody a smoke alarm. It's installing it for them, making sure it works, and then teaching them how to make sure the batteries are good and all that as well.
That's critical. You're absolutely right. And one thing that's great about these smoke alarms, according to the grant and what we have to follow, is these alarms include 10-year lithium-ion batteries. No changing of the batteries for 10 years.
Wow.
I know from personal experience, having an alarm or a battery go dead in the middle of the night and your alarm's beeping, you take the battery out, right?
Do you think there's like a conspiracy? Because it seems like every alarm that goes dead happens at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, every one I've ever had go dead, it happens in the middle of the night.
That's one of the great things about the product that we're giving Hoosiers today is, or throughout the year, is that they can put it up there, remind them to test it once a month, but it's not like it used to be, so to speak, where you have to change that battery regularly, and you're going to be protected.
Yeah, and some people say, well, I can't test it, I can't reach it. Well, a broomstick, a yardstick, anything like that to push that button, right?
Yeah, and one thing I failed to mention is we also have, in addition to the 10,000 smoke alarms, we also have 1,000 smoke alarms that are for the deaf and hard of hearing.
Oh, wow.
So these are alarms that have a vibration element.
Okay.
So they work in conjunction with regular alarms, but someone who is deaf or hard of hearing may be able to put this under their pillow, and it actually wakes them up when an incident occurs.
So the Indiana Department of Homeland Security can't do this by themselves.
No.
So what partnerships do you guys have in place? Because this is a huge program that
Absolutely.
you guys have statewide, corner to corner.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. As we got into this, we have given out smoke alarms for years from the State Fire Marshal's Office, which is one of the agencies within our agency, one of these sections. And you're right, we can't do it ourselves. We have field staff across Indiana, but we knew that it was a capacity issue that we faced to really have an impact. So what we did, we worked with our great partners, the American Red Cross, who have an implemented network and have been working on smoke alarm campaigns for many years successfully. And it was really important to get them on board, and they've been a great help in helping us build this program and implement it, and just been a really great resource for us.
Wow. So what... you got some tips for people that they should remember about their smoke alarms now that are in their house, because it's something that's so easily forgotten about.
Absolutely. What we try to do is remind them to test it once a month. Even if you have a 10-year lithium-ion battery, smoke detectors do expire. So you can't just leave it and forget it forever. So they do have a 10-year lifespan. all smoke alarms will have an expiration date on it. A lot of people don't know that as well. It also gives families an opportunity when you're testing that alarm to test your exit plan as well. So where do we go if an incident occurs? Do your kids know where to go if depending on which part of the house an incident occurs? So it's just a monthly reminder to remind yourself how important it is.
Well, and whether you own a home or you rent a house, rent an apartment, a condo, whatever it may be, this is more about saving your life and your family's life. Because one thing that I learned from my friend Mike Pruitt about people who die in fires is, because I'm always like, how do they not wake up? Like, how do you not smell smoke, feel the heat or whatever? And he says they die from the carbon monoxide far before the smoke and fire gets to them.
That's absolutely true.
And so that's why that early detection of that smoke alarm is so critical for you and your family.
That's very true. Smoke inhalation, carbon monoxide inhalation, those are the silent killers, so to speak. One of the data points that we're pushing in this campaign is that 2/3 of fatal fires nationally occur in homes with no smoke alarms. So all of them can't be prevented. All these people can't be saved, but just that in itself is indicative of how much of a difference we think we can make.
That's often a common thing we do, like you said, and the statistics prove that. But it's heartbreaking when you see the breaking news and you say that there was no working smoke alarm.
Absolutely.
And so there's no excuse, right? These are free. If you can't afford one, if you don't want to go buy one, whatever it may be, not just through this program, but a lot of local fire departments also have programs. So this is a great program, but we want people just to be safe, and that's what this is about.
That's true. And last year specifically was a tough year for Indiana. We had some incidents where there were multiple fatalities, as you know. The number of incidents that were reported to the State Fire Marshal's office were 93 fatal fires compared to 72 the previous year. Again, a lot of those had to do with those multiple fatalities, which every fatality is heartbreaking, but we really had some tough incidents last year, and it's a perfect time for this program to get up and running.
Yes, it is. And so tell people, how do they, if somebody's listening to this or somebody has a family member, they want to know this, how do they get a hold of you guys to get one of these?
The easiest way to do it is to go to our website that we've set up for this. This is getalarmed.in.gov. Okay. It's also available on the Indiana Department of Homeland Security website. But getalarmed.in.gov is our primary mechanism. You go in, it's a simple online form, you submit it. Our coordinator for the program will contact a fire service provider in your area or another service provider we're working with to actually make that install and set that up. So again, this is not a distribution program. It is an installation program. So
and will you guys only install one per house, or how does that work?
We have the recommended number of alarms is one per level of the house. So each home can have up to 3 smoke alarms through this program.
Okay. Yeah. Great. And this is a great start for somebody. Maybe they only want to buy, or they only have 1 or 2 smoke alarms and they're old and they don't know. If you're not sure whether your smoke alarm's good or not, call, get on the website and reach out for a free resource.
That's absolutely true. We have a lot of resources that are available, downloadable, printable for local agencies, local fire departments. One of the key elements that we're working on in this program is to work with rural areas. Yeah. You might have an IFD, for example, that would have a larger budget, might be able to do some blitzes, and but you have a small volunteer area in another corner of the state. It's tough for them to help people out that way. So
if you are one of those smaller fire agencies and you want to see about equipping your community, I would encourage them to reach out to you guys as well.
Absolutely. Go through the website or contact the fire marshal's office.
Yeah. So that, again, this is not just about installing smoke alarms. It's about saving lives and educating people on the importance of them.
Absolutely.
And so this isn't a sales pitch. You guys aren't showing up, installing one and saying, hey, we'll sell you 4 more for this much. Or it's not one of those deals. We're not there. You're not there to judge them or you're there to make sure their lives are saved.
Absolutely. And one of the key elements of the program and the way our coordinator has set this up is there is follow-up. So we want to determine where alarms were installed. If a year down the road we determine that there's been a fire run to that house, we want to make sure that was effective and that they were impacted because of that program. So we're looking long term. We've applied for an even larger grant for the following 2-year cycle. So potentially we could even be doing more smoke alarms than the 10,000 we're doing currently.
All right. So the website again is www.getalarmed.in.gov. www.getalarmed.in.gov. www.getalarmed.in.gov will get you the information that you need. And so we've been talking with David HOSICK, the communications director for the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. And I want to switch gears just a little bit.
Sure.
Because people are probably hearing Homeland Security thinking, why are they handing out smoke alarms? Because it seems like since 9/11 of 2001, Homeland Security has been closely associated with terrorism. Yep. And when we talk about the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, you guys are a state agency, but tell people a little bit more what you do. Terrorism is just a small piece of your pie.
Absolutely. You know, it is very different than the public perception. Part of my job as a public affairs director, communicator, is that I am constantly educating people about what our agency and our employees do. We have three primary divisions in our agency. We have the Planning, Training, Exercise, and Grants Division. We also have the Fire and Building Safety Division, and then the Response and Recovery Division. So people who have lived in Indiana for a while will probably remember SEMA, the State Emergency Management Agency. The legislation that created our agency folded SEMA and several other areas under this umbrella. So we do everything from response and recovery, emergency management, to inspecting amusement rides, inspecting boilers, building code, fire and building safety, as I said. So it's a very diverse agency. We have a lot of great dedicated people across the state, and we do a lot of different things. And we're, as I said, currently involved in raising our awareness, letting people know what we do. We're very excited about a partnership we're going to have with the State Fair coming out soon. So we'll have a nice presence at the State Fair this upcoming August. Really just doing a better job to get out there and get people informed about what the state level Homeland Security does.
Okay, great. So you guys are a valuable resource, not just for the citizens, but for other agencies across the state also. Like, you have a major incident or a critical incident. What's your role in a large-scale critical incident with the police and the fire and everybody else coordinating that?
Sure. We are not a law enforcement agency. We are an emergency response agency, so we're more of a coordinating agency in those types of incidents. The State Emergency Operations Centers is housed as part of Indiana Homeland Security. So when an incident involving multiple agencies, multiple different response functions, whether it be health, law enforcement, hazmat, transportation, all of that can be coordinated from our Emergency Operations Center. So if the local governments, for example, can't respond adequately to a flooding incident, they can request our help, and at that point we coordinate and bring in state resources. Okay,
so very much similar to a local EMA, emergency management, and,
yes.
They're the people that are just so essential at these large-scale events because they think of so many things that we don't, traffic control and food and water and, just a valuable resource. And so you guys are kind of in support of that role then.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting if you go to the Emergency Operations Center, whether you're on a tour or whether you're there for some sort of business. It's a hopping place when it's active. Mm-hmm. You have 20, 30 people in one room dealing with an issue. So if you have an issue that's large scale, just as you said, you're going to have transportation. You might have to move people from one area to another. You might have to find housing. So these are all things that are collected, combined for the betterment of Hoosiers when it's necessary.
Great. So the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, not to be confused with the federal side of the Homeland Security side, but so much more. And do you guys have a website where people could learn more about what you do, or maybe they're looking for a career?
We sure do. dhs.in.gov. We are a state agency, so you can get to us on the state website, in.gov. So, and you can also Google us and find anything you want to know about the agency.
Great. Well, we've been speaking with David HOSICK from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, and specifically he wanted to talk about his Get Alarmed program, and that's a program that's providing installation of smoke detectors. They're not just mailing you a smoke detector. They're going to come install it to make sure it's installed and working. And you can get information about that program, that free program, at www.getalarmed.in.gov. And so, again, it's about education. It's about installation. It's not a sales pitch. It's about saving lives. You've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. Thank you to my guest, David HOSICK. Roadshow is out.